Thanks be to you, O God, that Naples UCC has made a difference in the world for these past 50 years. And if it's according to your will, we look forward with hope and excitement to the next 50 years and the leaders who will emerge to help carry us into the glorious future. Amen.
In 1970, Reverend Robert Bartlett retired, and he and his wife moved to Naples to have their full-time retirement home. And they looked around for a church that would be just right for them, and it didn't exist. So they tried out ways to gather people together. They had folks in their home, and they explored the possibility. And from this was hatched the idea that became this congregation. Reverend Bartlett found a group, and he found a partner, Perd Dietz. Perd was an ordained minister who served in the United Church of Christ National Office for Church Extension and became a part of the organizing congregation that started in March 1973. They did so many things so quickly. They bought property, they built a building, they gathered in educational work, they started to do mission and outreach. And before long, this small congregation that gathered here became a big congregation. Not long after I began as interim senior minister, I started having conversations with people who said this community was so important to them. When they talk about this church, they get choked up because it's their home, and they love it, and they love the people here.
All of us here at NUCC have come from some other place in the country, and to come here and find a family with whom we are close, with whom we can share happy experiences, sad experiences. We have a family who cares for us, and we all know it from the minute we walk in the door.
The congregation has for a long time valued good preaching. Many good preachers have been here. They've prepared sermons that shaped lives, that motivated and deepened thought, understanding faith, not shying away from important questions. That's a tradition here at Naples UCC. This is an amazing worshiping community, and great things happen out of that worship life.
Naples United Church of Christ has been through some rough times since I was hired here in 2001. Music has carried that congregation through those times, through changes in pastors, through changes in staff. But music remained constant through those last 21 years. The music for worship each Sunday is often very different. We might have hired a trumpeter, we might have hired a flutist, we might have hired a violinist. The text is always to enhance the spoken word, but our goal is for that music to reach out and touch someone that needed to hear that particular piece that day.
Few congregations in all of America have better, more transformative music than Naples United Church of Christ. Friendships, community, and mission are three of the most important things about this congregation.
Our church is mission-driven, and that's our legacy for the 50 years of its existence. We feed the hungry. We educate the disadvantaged through our grants program. We add to the inventory of affordable housing through our great support of Habitat for Humanity. We help the refugee. We support our international partner in Guatemala and the group known as People for Guatemala. We were hands-on in building stoves. The funds come from direct contribution, special offerings in the church, and from the profits of our bargain box, said to be the oldest thrift store in Naples, Florida. All of its profits come to support the budget and the grant process of the Board of Missions.
The generosity, the leaning in, the helping each other, that's a part of the history of this church. In 2013, the congregation made a really important decision. It decided to become open and affirming, and that is that lesbian and gay women and men should have a place in the life of the church. Not just a place in the life of the church, but leadership and equal access, not to be transformed in any way other than all of us are transformed for service to God.
I came here about 14 years ago. My wife and I were brought here by some friends. I immediately got involved ushering and greeting and joined, within the first year, joined the Board of Deacons. What drew us, I think, is the fact that it's so welcoming, it's open and affirming. We have been welcomed in as a gay couple from the day we walked in the door. We just fit into the church. My wife and I plan to be in the Memorial Garden. There's a bit of my father in the Memorial Garden. And so this is truly my church home and my church family.
When first gathered on this property here on Seagate and Creighton Road, the congregation shared the space with the United Methodist Church. That Methodist Church made a decision to move to another location, which provided an opportunity for the congregation to expand its footprint and its mission. With this new, larger parcel, the congregation had an opportunity to imagine differently. No longer just a congregation in a building, it was now a congregation on a campus, a cluster of buildings that worked together to support the mission. And over the next decade, they dreamed, not once, but twice, and thought about how best to make use of the space. This included an expansion of the music program with the building of Beverly Hall, the enhancement of the gathering place, a real way to make the campus a home for the congregation. And when it did so, it made a parallel commitment to education, the education of children, and the continuation of the Precious Cargo Academy, the education of adults, and bringing in world-class scholars and teachers and lecturers. And those lectures, those educational events coalesce and help bring the community together.
Bill and I started attending Naples UCC before we were members. I joined the staff as Director of Christian Education, and we transferred our membership officially. Naples UCC was a special place. Our lives have been enriched from the educational programs, the volunteering opportunities, the mission giving, and the music. But really, it is the relationships that have fulfilled me.
In March of 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hit the globe, and it threatened the very lives of the people of Naples United Church of Christ. The phrase of the time was social distance. No, the congregation didn't want to have social distance. It wanted to substitute physical proximity with the best technological ways to connect. The congregation raised resources. They spent energy and time to do it well. And the congregation survived and has thrived. The congregation has made it through the first 50 years, but what's next? What's next at Naples UCC? For many congregations in America, the future is bleak. For this congregation, given its strong history, its combination of commitment to community, to mission, to praise and praying together, it's got a bright future, an extraordinary future for 50 more years and far beyond. May it be so.